I'm Hari Srinivasan, and welcome to NewsHour Connect, where the PBS NewsHour reaches out across the public media landscape to see issues play out across the country. Today we're talking about the impacts of wind energy and wind turbines. We're joined by two reporters from Project Argo, a network of websites by NPR member stations. Joining us from the Climatide blog covering environmental issues in Cape Cod is reporter Heather Goldstone, and along with her is Sean Corcoran, who's a senior reporter and editor for WCAI, a service of WGBH. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
All right, so your blog posts started off early in the week, and they've already been fairly well trafficked. They got picked up on the Drudge Report. Why are people so interested in what your first couple of reports about wind energy were?
Well, I think this is a really hot issue that's playing out around the world, really, and so has a global appeal. People living near wind turbines in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, I think I've even heard reports from Japan, have been complaining about health impacts from living near these wind turbines. And so I think it's really resonating with a lot of people right now.
And I think what's happening on Cape Cod in Falmouth is really putting a face on the idea that wind turbines can be problematic when situated close to people. Previously, that we were getting reports from other areas of the world. Now it's something that's more close to home.
There's another component of the discussion that is really just focusing in on this debate about what constitutes a health impact, whether more psychological impacts as opposed to a direct physiological impact is something that warrants public consideration. Obviously, the people who are feeling the impacts feel it does, but we've gotten a lot of comments, to put it bluntly, to the effect of, well, deal with it. This is what we need for renewable energy. So it's obviously a very touchy and sensitive subject, but yeah, provoking a lot of comments from folks.
And this isn't just a kind of knee-jerk, not in my backyard. These folks are complaining about health issues. They're saying that they're actually able to hear, what was it, one of your posts called infrasound? What is that?
Infrasound is kind of controversial, and it's even a little hard to define, but it's basically very, very low frequency noise that theoretically is too low frequency to be heard by the human ear. But as I said, there are differences in hearing. There's some controversy about what exactly is infrasound, what's just low frequency sound. And there's a lot of debate right now in the scientific community as well as in the public about how infrasound impacts the human body.
How does public policy get shaped around something when people complain and say, trust me, every day, every second, I hear this thing. So when they go to their town councils or when they go to the state, what does the state come back with?
People are reacting to this at the state level. They're mostly saying it still needs to be sorted out. It's almost been a year that this turbine has been spinning and that people have been complaining, but what we're hearing is kind of a distancing from this particular turbine. Folks saying, well, okay, something is happening to these people in Falmouth. They are being affected in some way, but, well, perhaps it's a bad turbine. Perhaps the turbine is older technology. It was in storage for several years. They don't make that turbine anymore. Maybe that's one reason. Or that was a badly sited turbine. These other turbines that are being proposed won't be poorly sited like Falmouth. So they're distancing themselves from that particular project.
Have there been any studies performed so far that confirm or deny any health impacts from wind turbines?
There have been a lot of studies historically of just how the ear works and how sound impacts the body. And it's based on that broad base of knowledge that people originally said they didn't expect any health impacts from wind turbines. There's been very little science looking directly at how wind turbines and noise from wind turbines interact with the human ear and with the human body. There's one study I spoke to Dr. Michael Nissenbaum in Maine, and he has conducted a study using 2 sites in Maine, and that study is currently has been accepted for publication but is not yet published. So a real sticking point in this debate is the fact that there's very little peer-reviewed science. There's a lot of case studies, of stories, of surveys, but not a lot of really rigorous peer-reviewed data yet.
And then you've got more reports coming out. What else is on deck?
Well, we are going to do something on shadow flicker, which is a phenomenon that occurs when the sun moves behind the moving blades. So if it's in the morning and you're in your home, you may get this flicker coming through your windows for a certain amount of time during the day. Those things can usually be, you can use computer models to figure out how that works, who's going to be affected, and then mitigate that. But it still does go on. We're also going to look at the politics of this. This is a serious issue for Governor Deval Patrick in Massachusetts because he's put a lot of political capital behind an effort to install 2,000 megawatts of wind energy in the state within the next 9 years. And Cape Cod is a major component of that effort. And if wind turbines can no longer be sited on Cape Cod because of folks reacting to what's happening in Falmouth, that has serious implications for Deval Patrick's agenda and overall implications for the nation's agenda. So we'll be looking at that.
Sean Corcoran, senior reporter and editor for WCAI, a service of WGBH in Boston, and Heather Goldstone, the environmental reporter for the Climatide blog. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for your interest.
Thank you so much.
This is NewsHour Connect. I'm Hari Srinivasan. Stay with us.